And we keep things rolling here on a very special edition of the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch right here on WCPT 820 AM, heartlandsignal.com, WSBC 1240 AM, Chicago, and on YouTube at the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, and joining me today is one of the godfathers of the industry, one of the guys who, because he walked, we were able to run here at the Sports Cubicle. It is always one of my favorite moments, whether it's with Jerry Riles or it's right here on the Sports Cubicle, to talk to a legit legend. He is the one and only Fred Mitchell. Mr. Mitchell, thank you for joining us. How you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, Mike. It's always a pleasure to join your show. I'm doing
And
good.
it's always a pleasure when it's this time of the year when we get to talk to the legend. That's because he is giving out or announcing one of the legendary awards in the great sports of college football. And over with the amazing boys at Mullion Hall, over at the Score, you actually made the announcement. So we have a local winner,
That's
right,
right.
who got
Yeah.
to win the Fred Mitchell Award, who ended up kicking their way to some great hardware.
Robert, for the first time in quite a while, we have a local winner, Aiden Ellison from North Central College. This is the 16th year of our award, and we've had winners from literally all over the country, from Arizona to Washington State and New York, Texas. So we have only for the second time, a Division III kicker. And Aiden Ellison went to Naperville Central High School. Initially went to Arkansas State for 4 years, earned a degree, and because of the 2020 COVID year, he had another year of eligibility. Decided to come back to his hometown town of Naperville, where both of his parents attended Naperville or North Central College in Naperville. And he proceeded to have, and is continuing to have, since they're still alive in the Division III playoffs. He kicked a 57-yard field goal and two other 50-plus yard field goals. And I think he was 13 for 14 during the regular season. And their season continues in the semifinals on Saturday against John Carroll, University of Ohio. So he's had a great year, and part of the criteria for our award also, in addition to kicking, obviously, also includes community service. And he has been very active from his high school days through his days at Arkansas State and now at North Central. So we have a 37-man selection committee that includes former NFL and college kickers and prominent businessmen, and really are very diligent about looking at all the great kickers. There's so many great kickers in college football these days. Unbelievable, actually. So congratulations to Aiden Ellison.
So let's talk a little bit about the position, because last time you and I talked last year, it's crazy how the evolution of not just sport, not just NFL, but sports, heck, people, technology, right? But you're seeing in that Colts game a few weeks back where you had Phillip Rivers, they're just trying to get it so that it's within 60 yards of a field goal. Like,
Isn't that crazy?
how surprising is it for you to have seen the evolution of the sport and the position itself beats to the point where it's not just one kicker who's the specialty, the big booter, but it's all of them, even in college,
Yeah.
Division I, II, III. How crazy it's been to see the position change like that.
Yeah, I would have never guessed. I was a dinosaur in that I kicked straight on, which most kickers did up until uh, probably the mid 70s. But yeah, it used to be a 50-yard field goal was a big, big deal back in those days. And then you had in 1971, Tom Dempsey, he kicks a 63-yard field goal, which was unfathomable back then. And that record stood for a long, long time, and almost 4 decades, I guess. But now, like you said, certainly every NFL team and many college teams have kickers who routinely kick 50, 55, 56, even 60 yards. And to give you an idea, of our award is for non-FBS kickers. In other words, there's like 120 something major colleges. Then you got like over 750 FCS, Division two, Division three, NAIA, community colleges. So uh, just this past year, uh, there were, I think I counted 19 kickers who had at least 50-yard field goals who did not make our final 10 list. We had two kickers who had 60-yard field goals who did not make our list. So that gives you an example of the depth and quality of the kickers. And why is that? My number one, two things is the soccer style method
Mhm.
and the fact that so many young guys grew up playing soccer, and that skill carried over to football. The other factors include playing surfaces. When I played, I never got to play on an artificial surface, so you'd have very many muddy games and divots that you had to negotiate. Uh, now you have a proliferation of indoor stadiums, which helps a lot. But the main thing is that these guys are better trained, better coached. They have the kicking camps that didn't exist when I was growing up, and it's resulted in just a tremendous overflow of great kickers.
So this is the closest I'll ever get to speaking with you, like if it were CTO or the Sports Network or the Sports Journalist or any of the fun shows I grew up watching, listening to you after you wrote a great article and you were talking to some of the great journalists in our city. But I need to get your thoughts on this because obviously your love for college football it runs so deep, but we are now in an age of NIL. And I am somebody who I've always believed I always find it hypocritical where you have people worrying about the pockets of other people, but are okay with billionaires and multi millionaires taking advantage of people. I think it's crazy that we can live in a world that we accept head coaches to just leave on a whim, destroy communities and local businesses and recruiting classes, but we punish for years athletes. But I do also think the Pandora's box of the way NIL has kind of just taken over the sport has gone completely on the other end of the spectrum where it's doing just as much damage as it was doing good. With that, all being said, I do think we're better off people on top of the table getting paid. Everything's kind of more transparency. But do you think we can ever? First of all, what are your thoughts on the way college football has changed with the NIL? But also, do you think we can find that happy medium of people are getting paid, all the Title IX is being protected, all these players and the revenue is going down to the proper places, and it's all up on board? Can we have that in this modern age of college sports?
Well, the can of whatever you want to call it has been open, right? And so you can't pull it all back. But I do think that there should be a happy medium where it's not a wild west
Mm-hmm.
situation. Uh, but truth be told, I mean, there's a lot of money in major college sports, certainly, that is the result of the performances of the athletes. So they deserve their share. Um, the other thing, speaking especially of small college players, a lot of times these guys are misidentified, shall we say, coming right out of high school. And if they find out early on that they can really excel at the lower levels, then they should have an opportunity to move up the food chain. And for instance, with our kickers this past season, there was a kicker at Ashland University, Division II in Ohio. a freshman. I think he was a redshirt freshman. Uh, and Manikai Manitobi, I think is his last name. But anyway, he had a 59-yard field goal as a freshman and made like over 90% of his kicks. So he's entered the transfer portal, and he'll be able to hopefully kick at a higher profile college. Before all these changes were made in college football, guys couldn't move around the way they do and the way they deserve to be able to do that. So yes, there has to be a happy medium, and so that everybody can prosper. Certainly, college coaches have the mobility to go to the highest bidder when they have success coaching. So the athletes should have some flexibility as well.
I could talk college and this entire NIL thing with you all day, Fred, but I have I have a couple more questions because again, like I said, I told you this when you and I had that show with Jerry, and then we had you on last year. This is definitely for all us journalists, broadcasting nerds, getting the chance to talk to you or Hall or Cappy or just you name all the goats that we've had, especially in the journalist world, like Big Z, to be able to talk to you and pick your brain. It really makes me want to ask this question because this past, summer, we lost a legend in Ryne Sandberg. You cover so many players, and one of my favorite things on social media is seeing you with Fergie or seeing you with some of the goats, right? Like some of the big names. Mm. And the death of Rhino, the impact that it had, the type of player he was. As we start losing these legends and these stalwarts of not just sports but the community, what does it signify for you when it comes to your career, watching these guys play, the majesty of covering them and watching them at their greatness? How has it been, and what is it like to kind of start seeing some of these stalwarts, these titans of our the things we love, passing away and leaving us in this plane, if you will?
Yeah, it really makes you take inventory. I was writing for the Chicago Tribune for 41 and a half years. Mm-hmm. And it's been 10 years since I left there. So it makes you mindful and appreciative of the people that I got to not only cover and write about, but to really get to know as people. In some cases, more closely after their careers were over. So, Ryne Sandberg's passing really hit hard for me and a lot of other people. And I wrote the first of the 12 books that I wrote was with Ryne Sandberg called Rhino, and you envision these people as being forever young. And I remember him in 1984, 85 when we did the book, and how young and kind of naive he was, and he's was still not that old of a man, 65 years old when he passed. So it hits hard and lets you know how quickly life goes by, and when it's somebody whose life and career is chronicled, as first as a player and then as a coach and a manager, you really pay attention, to the individual, and like I said, it makes you take inventory as far as the people that I've had a chance to meet. Been really tough.
Yeah, and it definitely, you could tell it hit on so many different levels, and people like you who always do such a great job of chronicling and telling the stories. I think that is why it's such a wonderful job when the athlete and the storyteller work together and they have a great relationship to be able to tell these stories for time and times to come. And one of the best storytellers, one of the greatest to ever do it. I mean, this is a living legend in Fred Mitchell joining us right here on the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch on WCPT 820 AM, heartlandsignal.com, WSBC 1240 AM Chicago, and on YouTube at the Sports Cubicle. Fred, there is no way I'm going to have you on the show There's no way we're going to talk about your amazing award named after you. We're going to talk about the great legacy of Ryne Sandberg and not talk about the beloved Bears. There's no way we're going to do it here. And so I believe the foundation has been built with a head coach in Ben Johnson that isn't a gimmick coach like we've seen with other past hires. This is somebody that was respected around the league. His offense has been proven. He has a mindset to talk to players and to coach in the NFL right now. All things subject to change. And as time goes, these messages wear off. But with that being said, they have that foundation at what seems to be a quarterback that is progressing with a high ceiling. And across from them is a head coach in Matt LaFleur, who's already a proven great head coach, and a quarterback who is on a heater in Jordan Love. What are your thoughts about this upcoming dynamite of a mega game on Saturday between the Bears and Packers at Soldier Field? So many playoff implications, but also the fact that on December, we're not talking about mock drafts. We're not talking about new head coaches, about draft positions. We're talking about playoffs. How has that been covering, watching as a fan, as a sports broadcasting legend, as a football player, watching the 2025 Chicago Bears?
Yeah, it's been really fascinating. I'm very impressed with uh, the adaptability of Ben Johnson and his coach. We knew of his tremendous background as an offensive coordinator. With the Lions, what we did know was his ability to be a head coach and set the culture of a team, and that has been impressive to this point. And I think we'll really get a good look uh, Saturday when the Bears and Packers play for the second time in 3 weeks. Uh, See what sort of adjustments are being made, right? The one thing I've taken note of is how he has done a good job of adapting at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
So something that's been missing with the Bears coaching staff in recent years, where at halftime, as the Bears come out, start out at a slow start in the first half, second half, things change pretty dramatically. So I'm impressed with that as well. And most importantly is that the players respond to him and play hard. And this past game with the Cleveland Browns is really good example of that. A lot of teams would have taken their foot off the pedal and said, "Oh, this is a losing opponent here. We won't have to play so hard." But Ben Johnson was able to convince his players that, hey, we really need this victory, get this 10th win, and regardless of who the opponent is. So those are some strong positive indicators up to this point, and making it fun for Bears fans who, have, for good reason, grown skeptical over the years about the Bears' sustained success. So whatever happens here on out is gravy as far as I'm concerned. It's already been such a dramatic turnaround from a team that lost, 10 games in a row last year to have 10 wins already. So it's already a success, but I know they're shooting for much, much more.
So we got some Bears in us. We've talked some college, talked about your amazing award. We talked about the great legacy of Rhino. I think it's time when we leave the people here. This is now the coal section for the bad behaved sports fans. The last thing, who is more frustrating right now? The Chicago Bulls, Chicago Cubs, or the Chicago White Sox? Who is frustrating you more right now heading into the new year? Granted, Cubs made a nice little playoff run. We all love the Cubs. Look, I'm a Cub fan, but you're losing Cody Bellinger. You don't know who you're going to be on pitching. Dylan Cease signs off, I believe, with Toronto. So I'm putting them on the list. Just a slight naughty list, but still on the naughty list a little bit. Your thoughts? Who's the most naughtiest on Santa's list this year of the Chicago teams?
Well, certainly the White Sox have had the worst record relative to the other teams we're talking about. The Bulls, however, may be the most frustrating, right? They got off to a really good start in the first 2, 3 weeks of the season, and then the bottom kind of fell out. And, it looks like they're probably going to finish into that horrible middle ground in the NBA, which is not a good place to be. So they kind of teased us at the beginning, and barring a miraculous turnaround, I just don't see that. The White Sox are just there's so much work to be done there, and White Sox fans have to be the most patient in the world at this point. The Cubs, provided some exciting moments last year, and who knows, what might come their way this season coming up. But I would say the most frustrating, naughty, if you will, to me has been the Bulls for teasing us for a little bit to think that there was going to be a dramatic turnaround.
So we know better that Jerry never did this. Michael is still on the table about it. Michael Ryne Sandberg, that is. Do they just tear down shop and release and let future endeavor, Mark Eversley and Arturas Karnisovas, or do they still go down this route? Look at Giannis Antetokounmpo is available right now, and once again, the Bulls are not in a position to trade away assets, to have garbage money on the books, to have some type of talent to swap. They have not put themselves once again in a position to be in a spot to get a disgruntled star. So with them being on the naughty list, more specifically, is it the front office that has the most hot seat with that coal that's in that stocking?
Well, you certainly have to make them most culpable.
Mm.
If we're going to give them the praise, if they completely turn things around, then they have to take the blame at this point. Like I said earlier, the Bulls have been in that middle area where you're not getting a top draft pick, and you're not improving yourself dramatically. You're not getting the big superstars, and we've seen throughout that successful championship teams in the NBA have not only one superstar, but two or three, right? Superstars. So, one great player is not going to do it. Let's put it that way. They need more than that if we're going to talk about getting back into championship contention.
Mr. Mitchell, I can do this literally all day. Every time I speak to you, anytime we have you on the show, I make sure to always end it so that all the people watching us on all the different podcasts and on the YouTube, all the new generation of podcasters, streamers, understand how much of a legend you are here in the city of Chicago. All of us from my generation of media members look up to guys like you and gals that are part of your ilk that built the foundation in which we're able to do this on YouTube, on Twitch, on TikTok, and all these different places. You guys went to journalism school. You did the hours, try to make deadline, dealing with editors, and found a way to make this so important and making storytelling a big part of the entire thing that we call being a sports fan. So any chance I get, I'm always going to say thank you, Mr. Fred Mitchell, for everything you do for us in the industry and for being an awesome, example for a lot of us in the industry. And hopefully we do you proud. And as always, it's just an amazing pleasure to have you on our show.
Thank you so much. It means a lot to me. Um, you know, Part of my legacy will be trying to encourage and help young aspiring journalists like you. And I teach a course at DePaul University, and it gives me great pleasure to interact with these young people and share my experiences and stories and advice. So just as much as you may enjoy hearing from people like me, it's right back at you because that's important to me that you guys succeed as well.
You are truly a legend and one of the kids use this word a lot, but I mean it. You are a goat. So thank you, Mr. Fred Mitchell. Congratulations on another successful season for the Fred Mitchell Award. Always a pleasure to speak with you, and I cannot wait, hopefully, to talk to you in February when the Bears are playing the Patriots in the Super Bowl. If not, we'll still find a time to talk to you. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the one and only Fred Mitchell. Fred, thank you so much for joining us, buddy.
Anytime, Mike. Thank you. Appreciate it.